my first home after Malaysia. 25 years ago, I was involved in a family hotel, the new Esplanade Hotel in the Esplanade, until it was sold few years back. So then my children moved to Sydney because they couldn't get into university here. So that is my third home. So I'm glad to be here. I'm very much Australian because Australia has a great connection with Malaysia through the war and all that war memorials. I think I've seen a lot of war memorials in Australia related to the Sandakam War Memorial than a lot of us. I thought I should say a couple of things first. Ecotourism to me now, after 25 years involvement, is a change agent. I feel that those of us in the industry can be great change agent. And for Australia case, I think that ecotourism can be used as a tool because it has a lot to do with environment. And you have great environment and great conservation strategy, but your future customers don't have many clues about it, and they're going to come in here and destroy your environment if you're not careful, because the next century is going to be Asia, I feel strongly, as Europe goes into gradual, subtle decline. So Asia is going to be your customer as much as Malaysia, and we are actually feeling it even now. The next 1 year, we're going to have 100 charter flights from China alone. One company. That's amazing. What the transformation is going to be like. So as I say, ecotourism is really well positioned to be a tool for sustainable development. So why Asia ecotourism? I feel strongly that we have a role to play. How do I move on? Is it right? Why Asia? I was involved in International Ecotourism Society like Glenn for about 20 years. I was a pioneer. Why move to Asia? Because I think we need to think global and act local, and this is one path that I've been thinking about, how to act local, regional first, and act local in Malaysia context in my own world. So after many years of struggling and convincing, we got nowhere. Finally, we formed this loose group, Asia Ecotourism. This is the Asian chapter of Global Ecotourism Network in a way. It, through the kind hospitality of Thailand, who offer us a free office for 2 years for us to get it started at one staff. Yes. So June this year, we had inauguration in Bangkok through the Good Office of DASTA. It's a government-linked body, a designated area for sustainable tourism administration. We need to have this because every country in Asia is trying to get on a bandwagon on ecotourism, and a lot of them don't have a clue, and a lot of things are in conflict with the original concept of ecotourism. So it's a good platform for us all to think and try to gather the minds together and think what is best for Asia, so that it's not too different from Australia and the international perspective. So that was the office. We have an office there, and we operate now with the modern technology of Skype and all that, using Skype. So please take note as I go along the website as well as the Facebook, so that you can log into it and get to become members. Yeah, I'm going to rush this because this is all going to be given out to people on the website. So again, we are looking as the regional economies in Asia are growing immensely fast, so fast that the government machinery don't seem to be able to cope with it. So it is critical that the private sector play the role to make sure that sustainability is often in the uppermost of our consciousness. So Masaru is also a pioneer, and the founding chair is very much a guy who travels a lot. He roams around the region in Asia and global, so that we can all start sharing knowledge, so that the consumer eventually will get to understand more and more about sustainability issue. So those of you who join this next 1 year, you become chapter member for life, yeah, and having the title. So basically the objective for AEN is to connect the stakeholders who are involved, so that we learn through the knowledge transfer, the marketing, business, B2B, and a lot of my involvement, the people in Malaysia, I find that the the people who set the policy in Malaysia are from Australia and New Zealand. So if you get involved early, you will be advisors and consultants to people in the Asian region who need your expertise. So don't just keep it within Australia, share, and you get into trouble, just like I am. Create new networking opportunities. A lot of networking opportunities. I myself, at this very moment, I have 3 student volunteers, one of them from Edith Cohen, doing great work with me so that I can transfer my know-how back to her, so that one day she'll bring back to Australia and use it. Her passion now is working with the communities in Western Australia. So here it is, it's going full circle, interesting. Provide AAN stakeholders with modern e-learning tools, training opportunities, and market data. Influence policy makers. You probably have the same challenge as I am. The foreigners will probably speak with greater influence to your own government, right? Yeah, because they heard enough from you. So the same, you will have a greater influence in Malaysia when you speak to us. It's the irony that I don't get so many invitations in Malaysia. Okay, this committee, now I won't bore you with that. We have a structure in place. Now, one thing to have the structure, another thing is to have different minds from different countries, different cultural, educational background working together to craft out something. So what we do recently was to sign an MOU with GSTC so that we have a common understanding to use that. And I think some of us send our staff for training in Bangkok with Guy Chester. You see how it goes round. So it's great that we are able to share knowledge and help each other to grow so that you will not find a Chinese or Malaysian tourist coming to Perth and litter all over the place. These are key members. There are 18 countries, I believe, and growing every day with more and more involvement. So it will be great for some of you who are passionate to possible to chart the future of tourism, sustainability, development, to get involved at this early stage. Now, at my age, I'm past 60, I feel that I have to take on a different role whereby I will go out and help people on the ground to implement policies. What has been set out on the global, regional, national level, the implementation, what I call execution, this is actually very lacking in the industry, and this is where I feel that my role will be will make a much greater difference, because it's fine to have global ideas and idealism. To practice on the ground takes a lot of your time, energy, and cash too. Yeah? Right. So these are some of the organizations now already on board, and I am sure there will be a lot more coming in the years to come. Now, AsianEcotourism.org, that's where you have to go into and look at. We of course, now is the regional representative for global ecotourism. So the world is much closer, and we are using Skype technologies and all that in linking together and networking together so that the voice of ecotourism will have a greater impact in the region. So the first part of this is to get some of the basic data information and information that people can provide so that we can assist and disseminate some of this critical information on the ground. Yeah? So that will be the early stage of phase 1 of AEN in making a difference. This is really a long-term program. It's not going to be short-term. So getting involved early stage is critical so that we lay the foundation for the future. Yeah. So this is my contribution to the future of the future generations. Yeah. Facebook is already very popular. Okay, so these are the information you can log in. Now I just wanted to touch on briefly on Malaysia, because regional, now the Malaysian context. we have the global Malaysia Ecotourism Plan for 15 years, which expired this year. For the last 10 years, we are in the midst of a review, and I find that my friend, interestingly enough, from Tasmania, Professor Trevor Schofield was involved in this project. So it's great you get in all this area because you have so much expertise that we don't have, research-based. I'm also working now with Murdoch University on a visitor survey in Sotao, for example. And your contribution in that sense is great to empower our people so that we can actually provide service back to your customers. I get a lot of Australian customers. So this is your contribution and my contribution. So the concept has been changed slightly, shifting away towards developing clusters. So that's what I learned from Trevor, because that's what you do in Tasmania very well, and we are adopting that good concept. Yeah. So looking at policies to attract more investment, just as what you were doing over here, and setting up the template protocol for concession in the national park protected area. At the moment, it's all ad hoc basis in Malaysia, depending on your political, the cable that you have. Yeah? National Ecotourism Award has been talked about, although I've been promoting it, it's so difficult to get change going. And I'm sure you are aware, those of you in the tourism, in the industry, that with globalization, change is moving a lot faster than before. So we find that in Malaysia, the government is unable to change fast enough to cope with the private sector investment into areas which were considered very sensitive. So this is critical for the government to review the policy, so to enable them to change at a faster pace. There is a need really to advance the educational level. This again, training, very critical to enhance our skill. Malaysia, we're just in the midst of migrating our badge. We have badge system for those who go through the training, from the blue badge to the green, and because they came out with a lot of different ideas over the years to help the local community enable to get them employment without the necessary academic paper qualification. They came out with a green badge, and over the years they find that the green badge did not work very well. Now they're migrating back to the orange badge. So all these things, they are in the flux. So it's great that when you have people like you to come in, you can tap into and help them to short circuit the whole thing. So there's a need for training as always. And in fact, next week I'm going to be in Mulu National Park for a training session with the financial aid provided by the Korean government. So there are many countries with government financial aid, but they don't have the expertise to implement it. Okay, last slide. As for the case of Sabah, I went there 2 weeks ago to listen to the final report. So this is the latest from the 2 weeks ago. So that again, the cluster concept is being adopted. So in the whole of Sabah, which is northern part of Borneo, British North Borneo used to be called, they developed the whole area into 7 clusters. Obviously, there had to be some focus on some of the critical areas. So they identified 2 clusters, which is Kota Kinabalu and South, which is a mass tourism area where they are handling 500 to 1,000 tourists a day from mass tourists from China. The impact is very visible at the moment, negative impact. So obviously there is a need to develop the infrastructure to catch up with the demand for that sort of short-term day trip facilities. Day trippers' needs are very different from 2 and 3 days needs. So, now the other one is to identify more keystone attractions to divert the traffic on key areas which include Kinabalu Park and National Heritage Site. Yeah? So there's a need to come up with new infrastructure. And as you know, Malaysia has a 5-year national plan. And this 5-year plan, once it's set in stone, it's very difficult to get funding for products that the tourists want. Yeah? Not what the civil servant wants or what the politician wants for their own benefit. So if we don't get in at this stage, we will miss the boat as well. There's a need for market segmentation, tourist flow networks, product development. I'm very privileged that I can sit in a subcommittee on rural tourism development. But as often the case, the ideas put forth will take 5 to 10 years to implement, especially with the 5-year planning schedule and the government that is centralized in Kuala Lumpur. So this is where eco-tour operator, eco-tourist, eco-lodge operators have a greater impact on the community at the local level, so that we can do the things that we are passionate about, number one. Two, where we have the ownership. Yeah? So sometimes I think it's good to have the private sector given special concession, because I feel that after 25 years, people in the industry are really entrepreneurs. There is a lot of risk involved, and this is often overlooked and unappreciated by the government because tourism has a cycle. During the good months, you make money. During the bad months, you're guaranteed to lose money. And the room that is not sold, and it's gone. Whereas if you have a product, machinery is still in your warehouse. So anyway, in conclusion, I think I'm almost due out for things. So the best is to get in, however equipped and experienced you are. I started the journey 20 years ago, 1991, when ecotourism is so new. I learned from scratch. I'm going to share on day 3 how I built my lodge with all the mistakes I made with the inexperience that I had. I almost went bankrupt, and then now today, this year, it became a National Geographic Lodge. Last week, I won the award again for PATA, the Inspire Award. So the awards come, but it took a long time. But it's better than late. It's better late than never. So with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much for listening. And if you're interested in building an eco-lodge, come to my session on day 3. I will share with you my ups and downs, how I had the most successful failure in the last 2 years. In one project I built in 3 years, because of the earthquake, it was destroyed. So I can claim to have the honor for being the most successful failures. Thank you.